Hello, welcome all. Today we will be discussing about the immigration processes in the UK. I want to introduce myself first. I am Doğa from Workhy. I'm a compliance and regulation specialist in Workhy. And today I'm here with the Pelin Erdal, Mrs. Erdal. She's from UK and she's the expert on these matters actually. Pelin, Mrs. Erdal, you can introduce yourself if you want to.
Hi, Doğa. Thanks for inviting me. Let me introduce myself briefly. I am Pelin Erdal. I'm the founder and the director of Erdal Legal Solutions. I am also an immigration advisor. My company, Erdal Legal Solutions, has been operating in the UK since 2018. And we are primarily offering services in immigration law, specifically focusing on business immigration. I believe today we'll be discussing business visas for the UK.
For the UK, for the foreigners. And yes, we hope today you can learn many things from this webinar. This is our aim, this is our goal. And let me start, Mrs. Erdal.
Sure.
I want to start with the first question. Can you please tell me what are the stages of the employee transfer process through opening a branch? When we open a branch, what are the stages?
So transferring employees, it is viable under global business mobility route. First of all, the UK expansion worker visa is a subcategory of the UK's global business mobility route. It's quite a new route, and the UK expansion worker visa basically allows the visa holder to come to the UK and set up a branch for an overseas business that has not started trading in the UK yet. So if the branch is already operating and active in the UK, then UK expansion worker is not a route that you can apply for. So applicants must already work for the overseas business as either a senior manager or a specialist employee. As you know, this visa has replaced the sole representative visa. There are mainly two stages for this route. The first stage is a sponsorship license. Before the overseas business can send employees to the UK to set up a UK branch, they must apply for a sponsorship license under the global business mobility route. So once their sponsorship license application is successful, then the UK expansion worker, the employee, the prospective employee, can apply for a visa. This is the second stage.
Second stage. Okay, thanks for your answer. And what conditions must a company be eligible to apply to meet for this visa?
So companies, first of all, there are general requirements to have a sponsorship, to apply for a sponsorship license, but under global business mobility route, there are some separate requirements as well. First of all, the parent company has to operate outside the UK for at least 3 years. So if the company hasn't been operating for at least 3 years, then they have to wait. This is a very strict requirement, to be honest. This was not the case for sole representative route before, but now under global business mobility route, if a parent company wants to transfer their employees to a new branch under UK expansion work route, they must at least be active for 3 years.
For the whole company, right?
The parent company.
Yes.
And for the branch, for the branch to apply for a sponsorship license, the Home Office asks for a footprint. So what does this footprint mean? So companies can show this by either, having a, let's say, business premises in the UK. So if they can provide evidence that they have UK business premises, then it's, they can provide a lease agreement or something. But if they don't have it, they can simply register with Companies House and they can show that they have a Companies House registration certificate. So yeah, footprints basically means either you have a business premises or your company is basically registered with Companies House. And as I said, overseas trading presence is a big thing under this route. If you're not operating, if the parent company is not operating for 3 years, then they have to wait. Basically, they are also asking for bank statements for the parent company. So to my understanding, Home Office is trying to make sure that company is not also, just active, but also making sales, offering their services or products. So they ask for accounts. So the company also needs to be profitable. For example, if the company is not profiting, then it is hard to show in the business plan that they have the potential to grow and to expand to the UK.
Yeah.
So credible plans to expand to the UK is also thing to consider. We also provide business plan with the application. So this is not a must thing, but most of the time when we don't provide business plan with the application, I have experienced that the Home Office is specifically asking for this document because they want to show how they are going to, finance the branch, competitor analysis, like what is the potential of the company. If they bring their employees, how are they going to pay the salary of these prospective employees, and etc. The guidance is very straightforward, but obviously there are some other requirements that they are not legally, requirements, but Home Office basically consider. So these are the requirements from the company side, briefly.
Yes. It might be hard to fulfill the 3 years requirement. Maybe they just have to wait. And yes. Okay. Thank you. I didn't know that the 3 years rule.
Under Global Business Mobility UK Expansion Worker, the parent company outside the UK must have operated for at least 3 years.
2 years. Okay. So is it necessary to show capital for the branch to be opened?
So capital investments. Yes. Legally speaking, there is no minimum investment requirement for Global Business Mobility UK Expansion Worker route. But like I said, guidance is not saying everything clearly, but we understand what actually the Home Office is looking for from their approach. Sometimes we make applications, just, whatever they ask for on the guidance, but they may ask for additional evidence. So to my experience, investment is an important thing from the Home Office perspective. There is no minimum, requirement of capital, but it really depends on the nature of the business. Let's say you have an IT business outside the UK. Let's say you have an IT business in Turkey or in Nigeria, and you've been operating this business successfully for the last 3 years. You have employees, you have the potential. Your turnover is doubling every year. Everything is perfect. So you're going to set up a branch. And you are willing to transfer your employees. It's okay. Most of the IT consultants, our clients, they are all working remotely, so they don't even need to rent a physical premises. So they might, need just with 30, 40K, they can, manage to set up a company here in the UK. So in this sense, 30, 40K or like 50K for an IT business might suffice. But if this is a, luxury car trade business that is willing to operate in Mayfair, then, they might need millions of capital. So it really, depends on the nature of the business, let's say.
Yes. But it's really independent from the nationality, right?
Of course, yes. So this is for all nationalities. So anyone can apply as a UK expansion worker.
Okay. But is there any map or I don't know website that show them for example, you mentioned that the IT business, or I don't know, it might be logistics, I don't know, e-commercial. Is there any guidance that the clients or that the people can follow, for example?
In terms of the industry?
Yes, industry. Actually, in terms of the capital, maybe.
No. So if you check Global Business Mobility Sponsorship License Guidance, there is, no figure is shown. But they're asking for business plans. And based on these business plans, they are assessing the application, whether it is viable or not. So that's why we know Home Office perspective. They don't ask for a, specific figure in the bank account, but they are assessing the application as a whole.
Yes.
Let's say that like I said, like if you're going to set up a very expensive business, like you're selling, I don't know, some expensive products, let's say, and if you can only show like 30, 40K in your company bank account as a business, then that's not genuine. Then they won't believe you.
Yeah, it might depend. Yes. Okay. Thank you. So what conditions must the representative applying for a company representative visa meet?
So the company representative, UK expansion worker, let's say, they they need to work for the parent company for at least 12 months, unless they are a high earner. So if they work for the company, like the parent company, for the last 12 months in the payroll, then they can apply for a UK expansion worker visa. But if they are not working for at least 1 year, they can still apply, but their potential salary is going to increase from 45,800 to 73,900. But anyone can apply as long as they are the employee in the payroll of the parent company at the time of the application. So that 12 months thing is just changing the potential salary in the UK if their UK expansion worker visa is granted. And obviously, these UK expansion worker visa potential holders needs to be seen in the senior positions for the parent company. Basically, because the parent company is sending someone to set up the business outside their main operation. So they need someone who is experienced, talented. They need to know what they are doing. So let's say like a junior employee who has just joined the team is not, very eligible to go abroad and set up a company. So it's like mainly, and also, in real life, most of the time, either general managers or people in, better positions have better chance to send abroad for setting up a company outside. And other than this, obviously, UK expansion worker, if they are going to apply for this visa, they are not supposed to have any criminal record or, even bankruptcy record, because they are going to be also the director of the branch. In addition to that, the job that they are going to apply, the job that they're going to be sent to fulfill needs to be genuine and needs to be suitable for their background. Let's say that you are sending an IT manager to the branch, but let's say she or he only has a marketing background, then, in terms of genuineness, they are not going to be, the Home Office may ask for additional document, or they may want to conduct an interview with the applicant under these cases. Also, there is a salary requirement. I think I have mentioned this. The minimum salary requirements 45,800
annual.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, yes, per year, of course. And then if the employee is not working for the parent company for at least 12 months, then it's going to increase to 73,900. And obviously, there is maintenance requirements. So when the applicant is making the application, they need to have the enough funds in their personal account to maintain themselves, which is currently £1,270. So yeah, in general, these are the requirements that the applicants need to meet to apply for a UK expansion worker visa.
Okay, as far as I know, the person who want to apply for this visa couldn't spend the money that you mentioned for the insurance related matters, maybe that £1,000. As far as I know, there has to be a bank account, and this money only has to be stay there, and no one can touch it, and no one can spend it, and only for the UK government related insurance, maybe. Am I right?
So that's £1,270 I am talking about is just a maintenance, which means that this money is going to be relied on by the applicant. So he has some money until he receives his first salary. He has something in the pocket. So that's the purpose of that maintenance requirement. But I think you're talking about IHS payment, which is quite separate from this, because that's like, when you are making the application, you are paying £624 per year as an immigration health searcher. That is separate.
Oh, yeah, that is separate. Yeah. I wasn't talking about that. Okay. Thank you very much. And then we can continue with the next question, and our fifth question. What is the minimum salary requirement for the representative? But we have already talked about that, right?
Yes, most of the time it is 45,800. This can be higher depending on the going rate of the applicant, because these people are UK expansion workers, but obviously, they have other occupations. So depending on the occupation, there is a going rate in the UK. So if anyone is interested, they can go to UK website and check these salaries occupation by occupation. For most of the time, minimum 45,800. This can be higher.
This can be higher. Okay. We have already talked about it, and I suppose it depends on the duration of the worker. It might get higher when you work longer. I don't know.
That's true.
Yes.
That's right. So if let's say the prospective employee for the UK branch, if he or she not working in the parent company for 12 months, then yes, the salary requirement is much higher. Then it increased to 73,900, if I'm not wrong.
Okay. It's pretty much okay. What kind of rights do people with this type of visa have?
So because it's a sponsored route, as I said, UK expansion worker visa holders can only work for their sponsors and only for the occupation that they have, being sponsored for. This is very important because if they want to change the job, even under the same company, they need to notify the home office. And cannot have any additional employment. They need to just solely work for their employers. But if they have any dependent spouse or partners, they can work, or they can be self-employed, or they can basically study. And obviously, if they have children, they have the similar rights. They can study or work. But people should bear in mind that this is a temporary route that never leads to settlement. By the way, UK expansion worker visa holders can also do some voluntary work as well, undertake a course, but obviously they have no access to public funds. Public funds is not permitted in many categories of the UK immigration.
Okay, but I want to mention maybe about the restrictions here. You mentioned start of your answer about you have to work as a dependent to your sponsorship. What can you say about its restrictions when a person don't work with the sponsorship company, for example? Is there any how can the government can detect it? And I don't know, is there any punishments? Is there any fees upon that? I don't know.
So they have no right to work for any other sponsor. If they are willing to take another employment, then they need to be sponsored by that company. Let's say that someone is on the UK expansion worker visa in the UK, working currently for the employer. But let's say this person receives another job offer from another company. Then this new company needs to sponsor the UK expansion worker. But obviously,
it has to change.
Yeah. And then a new process starts. Basically, he needs to switch his visa from UK expansion worker to skilled worker visa. And a skilled worker visa can lead to settlement. If you stay as a skilled worker for 5 years in the UK, and if you're also meeting the other eligibility requirements, you can apply for indefinite leave to remain. So this is possible, but obviously, you need to make another application. You can switch your visa type.
Okay, there has to be an update.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. How long can one stay in the UK with a company representative visa, and is it possible to obtain permanent residence, for example?
So yeah, this is very important. This is a temporary route. Basically, you can come to the UK as a UK expansion worker, and maximum you can stay is 2 years only. Then you have to switch if you are still willing to stay in the UK. So this is also possible, because we were talking about the sponsorship license, which is the first step for the global business mobility UK expansion worker. So there are different types of sponsorship licenses in the UK. The one we are talking about is under the global business mobility. So if that branch is willing to keep, employing other employees from all over the world, then they can switch their sponsorship license from a global business mobility UK expansion worker to skilled worker. They can add a new route. This is possible. So yeah, the maximum they can stay as a UK expansion worker is 2 years. So, but it is possible to switch the immigration category. It doesn't have to be even skilled worker. It can be any other category as well.
Okay, so it will be an okay, I see, but I just want to ask that how many times can one person extend its visa, for example, and you can mention it, you can answering it in the context of the, I don't know, transfer to the skilled worker. It doesn't matter, but I don't know it. I've heard that someone has to apply for it twice, but it might be wrong. For twice, as the, I don't know, it multiplies 2, and then he or she can stay for 4 years, for example, with this context. It's not right?
No, this
Okay.
is not possible. So as
Okay.
a expansion worker, because you're being granted 1 year initially, and then you can extend it for another year. It's 2 years in total. So
2 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then you switch.
Okay, I wondered that. Okay, thank you. It's an important matter, actually. So, how long does this entire process take?
Sponsorship license application take up to 8 weeks, but before that, sponsorship license application requires so many documents. So most of my clients need at least a month or 2 to collect all the documents, to prepare them. And there is a business plan involved. So business plan takes a bit time too. So let's say preparation time takes 1 to 2 months, and then the processing time from the home office is another 2 months. In total, 3 months. Let's say sponsorship license takes 3 months. And then UK expansion worker visa is shorter. It takes around 3 weeks from outside the UK.
Okay.
So yeah, it is obviously, under some circumstances, it is possible to prioritize the application by paying extra. Not from all the countries. It depends country by country.
Country by country, yeah. Wow, it's interesting though. It can get faster,
Yes.
as I understand.
Yes, sometimes if there is a priority option available in the country, then applicants may have the visa within 5 working days.
So there are, like, I don't know, thresholds for that. How much you pay, it depends on how much you pay. It gets faster. I don't know. Is it something like that?
Yeah, it is around £500, but I think they have just increased it. I cannot tell you from the top of my head now, but I think it's around £500.
Okay. Thank you very much. Is there another method apart from the one we discussed?
In terms of business visas?
Yes.
Yeah. So there is this self-sponsorship route. It's not a new route, and it's not a visa category, to be honest. So if you go to Go UK website and just check for self-sponsorship route, you will find nothing, because it's like normal sponsorship license and then skilled worker. So self-sponsorship route basically means that applicants are registering a company in the UK, and then they are appointing a UK-based director who is settled in the UK, and then they are applying for sponsorship license. Once the sponsorship license is granted to the company is issuing a certificate of sponsorship to the person who can be the shareholder. And then they can, apply for a skilled worker visa. So this is the self-sponsorship route means. So the shareholder, so the person is setting up a company, so he is being the shareholder of the company, and then hiring someone in the UK as a director, applying for a skilled worker visa. So this is not a new route, but in the previous legislation, skilled workers were prohibited from holding shares, like majority shareholding, but they made some slight changes. Now it is possible for the skilled workers to hold shares from the sponsoring company. That's how self-sponsorship route becomes very popular nowadays.
Okay.
Genuineness criteria and everything. So this is not suitable for everyone.
Yeah.
The genuineness requirements. If Home Office thinks that the whole process was being created solely for the applicants to find a route to the UK, then that's not genuine. So genuineness criteria is very important and not suitable for everyone. So the company in the UK genuinely needs you as an employee. This is an important requirement.
Yes, really it is. So I want to talk about the self-sponsorship route. Can you explain more detailed what is the self-sponsorship route and what are its steps actually?
So sponsorship license, but this is different from the global business mobility route. Self-sponsorship route, we are talking about the skilled worker self-sponsorship route, skilled worker sponsorship license route. So there needs to be an UK-based person. So if the company doesn't have any employee who is not settled in the UK, then they cannot apply for a sponsorship license under the skilled worker route. Home Office wants to, see someone in the UK who is going to be appointed as a authorizing officer, a key personnel, and then level 1 user. These are the positions. So basically, there's a sponsorship management system for the sponsored routes in the UK, and Home Office is checking this sponsorship management system. And if you are employing someone as a skilled worker, you need to appoint an authorizing officer, key personnel, and an SMS user. These are three different, let's say, positions, but one person can undertake all these responsibilities.
Okay.
So yeah, they need to hire someone. The director doesn't have to be a settled person, but if they are, it is better. So they apply for a sponsorship license. Once the sponsorship license is granted, then the company is issuing a certificate of sponsorship, and with that certificate of sponsorship, the skilled worker is applying for a skilled worker visa. They can apply from 1 year to 5 years, and once they stay in the UK as a skilled worker for 5 years, they will be eligible to apply for indefinite leave to remain. And obviously their dependents as well, if they meet other eligibility requirements too. So yes, that's how self-sponsorship route was created. As I said, it's not a new visa category, but now it is possible to be a skilled worker of the company that you hold the majority shareholding of.
Okay. Thank you very much again. So, what conditions must companies meet to obtain a sponsorship license? I know you mentioned it a bit, but maybe you can give us a more detailed answer about that, about this question.
So it needs to be a genuine business operating lawfully in the UK. And they will need to provide at least 4 specified documents, and these were set out in the sponsorship license guidance. It can be, bank statements, some tax registrations, bank statements, PAYE reference letters. There are, so many documents in this guidance. So the requirements for the sponsorship license is not very hard. The main thing that the Home Office is looking for is the genuine business operating lawfully in the UK. And obviously they need to justify why they need skilled workers in the UK and why they couldn't find these employees inside the UK. The requirements were harder in the past, but now it's like easier and more flexible, we can say. So there is no, minimum time that the company needs to operate or something. But if the company is operating for less than 18 months, there are different documents that the Home Office asks from the company, but they can still apply.
It has to be genuine. That's the main
requirement. This is very, very important in all categories of UK immigration. This is the basic.
Yes. Company has to show it to Home Office. Yes, it should be real. Okay. So are there any capital requirements or sector restrictions for obtaining a sponsorship license?
No, not really. There is no sector restrictions for obtaining a sponsorship license. Any business can apply, for a sponsorship license, as long as they meet the eligibility requirement, as long as they genuinely need skilled workers from outside the UK. And any business from any sector can basically apply. And there is no capital requirement, but the Home Office needs to show that the company is capable of paying the salaries of the prospective employees. Because remember that there is a minimum salary threshold. If your company is not profiting for the last 2 years, let's say, and you say that you need, another 4 employees to hire, then Home Office may think like how you're going to pay these people's salaries, and they may ask for additional documents, or maybe they may conduct an interview with you to learn more information about like what you're considering about your business and these kind of things. So, but it's the same. It is also part of genuineness, to be honest.
Yes, it's true. Yes. There are maybe some restrictions on the nationalities again because of the economic things or rules maybe, but we will not discussing about this in this webinar. I want to proceed with the next question. So what is the visa application process after obtaining a sponsorship license?
So fee structures for sponsorship license, home office fee is £536. And for the skilled worker visa application, if the applicant is making an application for up to 3 years, then it's £719 for the home office fee. Immigration surcharge is £624 per year. And there's a certificate of sponsorship fee, which is currently £200. And if the certificate of sponsorship is more than 3 years, then the home office application fee increased to £1,420. Yeah, and if there is any dependent family member, the home office application fee is the same. Immigration health service charge is also the same, but there is no immigration skills charge and cost fee for the dependents.
Okay, so it exceeds 2K perhaps.
So yeah, if someone is applying for a skilled worker visa, let's say for 2 years in total, apart from the sponsorship license fee, so it costs the employee around £2,000, let's say, including the home office fee, immigration health surcharge, immigration skills charge, and cost fee. In total, it's I think 1,900 something for 1 year, and for 2 years, I think it's like almost £3,000. Yeah.
Okay.
But obviously, they have announced that they are willing to increase the immigration health surcharge on 16th of January 2024 to 1,000 something, £1,035.
Are you talking about NHS?
Yes, IHS means basically, yes, NHS fee. You can call it NHS.
Okay. But it's health, national health security.
No, yeah. So IHS means immigration health surcharge. When you are in the UK, you can, like health system is free here. So you will be eligible to utilize, use the services of NHS for free. The yearly fee for IHS is £624 now.
For the application?
Just for the IHS. For the application, if the visa duration is under 3 years, then the application fee is £719.
Okay, I get it. Okay, thank you. Let me check the questions. Okay, just wait a minute. Can the applicant's family members benefit from this visa, actually?
Yeah. Basically, they can come as a dependent of a skilled worker to the UK, and dependents can work in the UK, study in the UK, and take some voluntary works in the UK. So yeah, basically they can.
They can benefit.
Yeah, either spouses or unmarried partners if they have been cohabiting like for at least 2 years, and if their relationship is genuine, then unmarried partners can also apply as a dependent.
But I know that it might be different from that because it called that a spouse visa, right?
Well, spouse visa is, so there are different kind of dependent visas. Appendix FM applicants, if your partner is an British citizen or settled in the UK or here in the UK as a Turkish business person, then they are assessing the applicant as an Appendix FM. There are different rules involved there. But here in skilled worker rules, it's point-based system. So this is the different rules applies.
Okay.
Under Appendix FM, it's much harder. There is an English language requirement, financial requirements, but as a dependent of a skilled worker, I can say rules are more flexible.
Is there any age requirements for the children?
Yeah, they need to be under the age of 18.
Oh, okay. It's important too. Okay. Thank you very much. And I think it's yes. What are the fees involved in this matter actually?
And for
Do you
skilled
know?
worker visa, I think, yeah, I think I have just answered that question. So 719
Oh,
pounds
yeah.
office fee. Yeah.
Yeah. But it depends on the duration. Let me
Yes. Yes.
yes.
For the application fee, it depends if you're applying for more than 3 years or less than 3 years. It depends on how many years your employer is going to sponsor you.
So 3 year is the main number of the year because I heard many 3 years about this matter.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
Yes.
Also about the global business mobility, the 3 year requirement for the parent company. You're right.
Yes, there are many trees. Okay, so that's all the time. That's all the questions actually I wanted to ask to Mrs. Erdal. And now we can take questions from you. You can write it below here in the chat, and then everyone can see it. We are waiting.
So, do we need to set up a new company owned by the parent company in the UK, or it needs to be the branch of the current company in Turkey? What are the positive and negatives for those options? So we basically discussed two different routes here. First of all, the first route was UK expansion worker. To apply for a UK expansion worker visa, there needs to be a link between the parent company and the branch. So ideally, if you're willing to go for the first route that I have mentioned, which was Global Business Mobility UK expansion worker route, then the branch needs to be basically a branch. So either, through the common ownership, or branch, the shareholder of the branch might also be the parent company outside the UK. So that's the link. That's how you can show the link between these two companies. But there needs to be a link. But self-sponsorship route, you can set up a new company, completely new company, and it doesn't have to be linked by the parent company. So there are different routes. But in terms of downsides, I can say that Global Business Mobility UK expansion worker route is a temporary route. So if you want to stay in the UK for longer, then you have to switch your immigration category. But if you choose the self-sponsorship route, you need to hire someone in the UK. But then within 5 years, you can apply for indefinite leave to remain because you come as a skilled worker. These are different categories. So I hope this clarifies.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Erdal. Yes, is there any?
Also, there is one more thing that I forgot to mention about Cengiz Dan's question. There is no English language requirements for Global Business Mobility UK expansion worker route, but in terms of the skilled worker route, you have to show at least B1. English language abilities. It can be IELTS. There are also some certain, other test centers.
But it's IELTS, I guess. Not
only that, not depending on the country, IELTS is not the only exam that the UK Home Office accepts. There are other ones.
Okay. Thanks again. Mr. Sarı asked.
Must the company be active for company owners established in the United Kingdom to obtain? How long are there bank transactions? So I think this question is related to Global Business Mobility UK expansion route, I believe. So the parent company must be operating outside the UK for at least 3 years. So if the parent company outside the UK is not operating for 3 years, then they cannot apply for Global Business Mobility route. And are there factors such as bank transactions? Yeah, I assume this question is related to global business mobility. So in terms of the required documents, yes, the Home Office is basically asking for the bank statements for covering the last 3 years to see if the business is actively trading and genuine. So yeah. They are.
Okay. Okay. Thanks. We have already discussed that, but thanks again for answering it. Yes, here comes the Cenk Özden again.
After we set up our branch in the UK, what if the business become main market and we start operating mainly in the UK? How long can the representative stay in the UK? So if you set up a branch and if the business become the main, you mean like bigger than the parent company and the main operation will, move to the UK. That's a problematic issue, to be honest. That's a good question, because in terms of the guidance, it clearly states that the branch shouldn't be act like a parent company.
Mhm.
So yeah, it is under these circumstances, it's going to be a problematic if the company starts, acting as a parent company. But I would love to just answer this question more in detail if they can email us, because there are some, certain things to discuss in terms of what they mean by main market. Because,
Yes, it might be about the flip up processes, maybe. I don't know the real aim here. Is maybe the UK subsidiary company became.
for example, let's say that the UK branch turnover is somehow higher than the parent company's turnover. Yeah. So I think that's what Cenk is asking. So yeah, under global business mobility route, this can be a problem. But obviously, global business mobility route is for, UK expansion worker visa route is only for 2 years. So if the company's turnovers are, very high, then they can add a route to their current existing sponsorship license as a skilled worker. And then that UK expansion worker person can switch to skilled worker. So that's how they can manage the process.
Yes.
Just by adding a route. How long can the representative stay in the UK? That's like up to 2 years. Are they anyway for indefinite leave to remain? So yes, if they switch their visa to skilled worker visa, then yes, they can apply for indefinite leave to remain after 5 years. But there is no way as a UK expansion worker visa. So UK expansion worker never leads to settlement. It's just a temporary visa.
Yes, yes. Okay, thank you. And the last question comes Cenk Özden again. Okay. Is UK expansion visa can switch to senior specialist worker visa under global business mobility?
It really depends. It really depends. So global business mobility to senior specialist worker, yes, but they need to change the route again. Yeah.
Okay.
Because when you're applying for a global sponsorship license, there are different routes. You're basically, choosing one. And then you can, if you need other employees to bring from the existing company, then you can add other routes to your existing sponsorship license.
Yes, yes. Okay, thank you very much again for your answers, Mrs. Erdal. I want to say goodbye, but first, let me thanks for everyone to joining us today. I hope this webinar is really efficient, is really, I don't know, full of knowledge, and it helps you to get your aim. In a nutshell, I can give it a summary as like that. Thanks for watching, and yes, thanks again for your answers, Mrs. Erdal. She's a really expert, and I hope she can help further questions and further processes upon that webinar. Thank you very much again, and I want to say goodbye.
Thanks for inviting me, and thanks for everyone for attending. It was a pleasure.
Yes, me too. Okay, goodbye, everyone. Thanks for watching.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.